Welcome, everyone, to the Miss Art World podcast. Thank you, as always, for listening. Today, I have a special guest. Kim Winberry is here with us. She
Hi.
is a local Santa Clarita artist. Tell us a little bit about your work, especially because we're on YouTube now, but most of our listeners are listening on a variety of different things, but they're listeners. So explain your work in a way that a listener would be able to visualize.
Okay. I paint with watercolor. And the one thing I really love about watercolor is, I use a lot of water. So being able to watch the water slide across the paper, the pigment just blossom and go and travel and rivulets across the paper and do what it's going to do is really what brings me, peace and calm in this world. Being able to depict animals, especially endangered animals, is something that I'm very passionate about. What I do is I apply the watercolor in a very loose fashion, and then I use India ink applied after the fact to tighten up the details and bring out some of the things that watercolor just likes to do. So I'll use the pen to bring out differences in hue and saturation and use the ink for shadow and just to accentuate certain things. It tightens up the detail, but it also gives it a sense of whimsy. I put in swirls and other marks that just bring in a sense of whimsy and it's very unique. I've been told that people haven't seen this application before. Mm-hmm. So when I'm doing endangered species, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bring attention to the fact that there is this animal, and I don't know if you knew it, but it's also dying out. And I also try and learn about what's causing that. What status is it? What can we do to help? So I usually have a big story behind all my endangered species paintings. I do paint other wildlife just because I like animals, and so you'll find things that aren't endangered but are fun to look at. I generally use a lot of color, a lot of very saturated color. So my images are, they're very in your face.
And you, I was reading about your process on your website, but you use salt, right? To kind of
I do use salt sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Salt, when you apply it if you wait at just the right time, when the water is just glistening on the surface of the paper, it's not puddles of water, but it's glistening, it's drying. If you wait till that point, when you put salt on, it pulls the pigment out of the paper and leaves a little mark that looks kind of like a snowflake. So when you apply, and different grains of salt do different things. So sea salt, flake salt, table salt, the different size granules will affect the paint differently. So it's kind of interesting to use that to disrupt the paint and create artifacts in what would normally be a very calm field, which calm can sometimes be boring for me. So I like to mix things up.
Real quick, if someone is wanting to look up your work, where would they find it?
I am on every social media, but you're going to find the most work on my website, which is waterplusink.com.
Okay.
All spelled out.
Yeah. Water plus ink?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're on Instagram too?
I'm on Instagram. You're going to laugh. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok.
Talk to us a little bit about where did the passion for animals and art come together? Were you always passionate about both, or was it just a very natural marriage between the two?
Well, it's funny because initially, I'm trying to paint and get attention to my paintings, and I'm looking, well, what would people like? And I started off animals, and then I got drawn to these images of endangered species and like, okay, well, I need to be able to answer questions. I have questions about this animal. And the more I read about what we're doing to it, what we're doing to their habitats, what we're doing to their environments, what we're doing to the animals themselves. So what we're doing to rhinoceroses and their horns is absolutely horrific. And so, you know, painting them and saying, hey, you know, I need people to look at this because I need to tell the story. So I'm going to paint this in a way that people are like, oh, that's so cool. And then I'm going to say, well, yeah, that's cool, but this may be the last image you see of it, because if we don't change what we're doing, this is all we're going to have left. We're not going to have the beautiful animal out there roaming around. We're just going to have, you know, artistic renderings of something that, you know, and down the line, you know, I mean, people love animals. Just, you know, you look at their attachments to pets and dogs and cats and birds and reptiles even. And, you know, I personally, you know, used to have cats, and we've had dogs. We can't because my son's very, very allergic. Mm-hmm. So, you know, he stops breathing and that's not a good thing. So we don't do that. But I love animals. I really do. I wish I could have a million of them, but I can't. But
and really, you have so many through your art that I'm sure it's nice to have them around.
It's funny because, like, I sent my boys down to the garage to bring up paintings that I need to have photographed, because I just landed a licensing deal and they're wanting, you know, certain images. And I'm like, oh, go get this one and this one. And I'm just rattling off the names of the paintings, and they're like sending up stuff that's not that. And I'm like, oh gosh, these are like my children. I know all their names, but you don't know their names. Yeah. You know that, like, okay, pink dahlia, it's a pink flower. Okay, I'm gonna send this one up. That's not the right one. but yeah, so they all have names, and I know them by name, and they are a big part of, you know, my existence here. Mm-hmm. So but yeah.
What's by licensing deal, do you mean like they'll be featured on a TV show, or?
Actually, iCanvas is in the process of putting together a contract for me, so I haven't signed it yet, and I don't want to jinx it. But we've talked about exclusivity as it pertains to, you know, wall hangings on canvas. It's going to appear on their website, but it also is going to appear like on Wayfair and some other very popular home furnishing sites.
That's very exciting. How, as an artist, is like going over a contract kind of daunting because you don't want to give too many rights away, but how is that?
You know, I'm very nervous about it. I don't have the contract in hand yet, but you know, talking about the parameters that, you know, they said, oh, well, you know, we can give you more money if you're exclusive with this. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, I'm brand new to this, but I've been talking to people. So exclusive as it pertains to what? I mean, obviously you're talking about these specific images, but are you talking exclusive to the USA? Are you talking exclusive to canvas, exclusive to wall hangings? Are you going to put these on other surfaces? Are they going to be on other things? And so being able to narrow down exactly what it is they're licensing, you know, so that I know that, okay, the deal I have with them is going to be worldwide. It's going to be on wall hangings, on canvas, and I still have the ability to sell these through my site. Now, on my site, I'm probably going to take the open edition down and just leave limited edition, because I don't know that I'll be able to compete with them. Although I might leave it up, just, I don't know. I have to see what price points there are. But yeah, it's being able to understand exactly what they're talking about. You know, I have someone in my corner, so I'm very, very, very thankful for that.
That's good, because I've, you know, as an artist, you hear horror stories like Thomas Kincaid, where at the end of his career, he didn't own anything. And so he wasn't really making as much money as everyone thought he was, because he had made the contract mistake of signing away too much. So it's very good that you have people looking out for you, because that would be awful, I think, as an artist.
Right. And I think, what I've been reading a whole lot about it. There's always this, I could get a lot of money up front now if I signed away these rights versus a little bit over time if I just let them do this and I retain the right to the image in whole. So, there's always the greed factor and do you, being impatient. Impatience a big, I'm quite impatient, but I see this as an opportunity that's going to grow over time. I'm told licensing is a long game. So, they're going to have to produce and market and generate a following, and, just like I have, and it's taken me years to get where I am. And even at that, most people know me from festivals and in person. When COVID hit and all that went away, I had to pivot and put all my efforts into my website. And, that's been since March. And, it's not been too bad, but I just need to build up the following, through social.
And it does take time, but it's important. It's so good that you're able to pivot, because I know so many artists that have been in fairs and festivals, and they're just so, I think, disappointed that they can't continue that right now, that they haven't been able to, they're like stuck. But it's
Right.
nice that you have recognized, okay, if I can't do this, then I have to do it this way to still get your art out there.
Exactly. Well, and what I ended up doing was taking cancellation fees that I got back from booths that weren't happening and poured that into a really dynamic web platform that allows people to test out my art on their walls. It has a built-in AR function on my website.
That's cool.
Yeah, it really is. So like if you surf to my website on your phone and you find a piece, you'll see view live. I forget what the button says, but it's live view or something like that. And then you hit that button and then you have to stand 10 feet away from the wall, but you hold your phone up against the wall and it superimposes the painting in whatever size you pick on the wall where you're going to put it. And you can do a drop down and change the size and see how that affects. So you can kind of see what size would be good for that space. And I think having a website that is specifically tailored to selling art is important. Mm-hmm. They also act as a print producer. So you can order prints through my website and they get drop shipped to you. So, and
nice.
Yeah, it's awesome because they print on like metal and acrylic and wood, and in addition to canvas and paper. So I'll be able to like turn off the canvas and just leave the rest of it, or leave canvas, since they said that that option will still be open to me.
The obvious question now that I'm asking each artist that I interview is, how has COVID been with your art? Are you making a lot more? Are you going crazy, being stuck at home? Like, how, as a creative person, how's that going?
I need to get out and be with people. Mm-hmm. San Diego Art Walk is actually holding their event in November. So the weekend of the 7th and 8th, San Diego Art Walk is having a physical event. And so I will be there, and I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also very nervous. I've spent, since COVID hit, I lost my day job. So, I've got even more time on my hands than just the festivals that aren't happening. So now I've got the job that's not happening and the festivals that aren't happening. So it kind of gave me more time to focus on my art career and my website and developing that and just painting a ton. Mm-hmm. There'll be like days I don't come out of my room. Just, the kids will come in and hang out with me and we'll watch TV, and I'll just be painting or social media marketing or whatever. But yeah, so but it's made me want to do more. It's like, okay, now's the time to do this book. Mm-hmm. I've had this book in my mind forever.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the book idea.
Okay. I came across this idea. I wanted to do this book, and I had actually met a publisher that lived in my building, and we were talking, we were having meetings about the story. The story was going to be about kids going on an adventure, roughly kids going on an adventure to learn about endangered species was the overarching, concept of the story. And we were going to have them travel somehow to some place and learn about some animals that we had picked out. Now, I got dropped because the guy decided he didn't want to publish children's books anymore. So he just, stopped, we stopped planning it. But I decided with COVID hitting, I need to do this. This is the time. So I decided that I was going to pick some iconic animals that would be easily identified by school kids. So I went with cheetahs and zebras and basically animals found on the African plains. Mm-hmm. So I picked 5 animals. I picked kids. I found art. I started writing the story. But in order for me to do the augmented reality part of it, I really wanted to do it right. Now, I had already done a proof of concept in applying augmented reality to a coloring book I had designed. So I had already tested it out, and I know it's possible based on what I've accomplished with that project. So with that project, I have a 3-dimensional character. Her name is Mist, and a sidekick named Norvin that appear in the very beginning of this book. And, she says in the coloring book that she's going to be there in future projects because I had this plan for her. So being able to do the 3-dimensional acted out above the book animation, what happens is you have your smartphone, you download an app, you open the page, there's a code, you have the app open, you look at the page through the app. Mm-hmm. It picks up the code and the image, and then that triggers an animation to start that's in the space above the book. Okay. So you've got this 3-dimensional space. You're watching these characters do things. You're watching them do things. You're listening to them speak. You're watching the whole story play out in front of you. So literally, the kids could look at this and have the story be told to them. And then you flip the page and then the next scene acts out. That's the concept. So I've got the story written, and some of the pages are the art I've designed. So I'm waiting for the Kickstarter, which I'm sorry, I'm losing my mind here. The Kickstarter is ending, so it's not going to get funded, but I am going to launch a new Kickstarter on November 1st. November 1st, I'm gearing up to launch this new Kickstarter, and I'm going to have a ton of really cool rewards set up, including copies of the book. There's going to be an accompanying coloring book available that goes with it that covers more than just the 5 animals, because there's so many more than just 5 animals, but that's what the book is. So there's going to be a 20-page coloring book. There's going to be the storybook, and then various pieces of art that will be available as well. Okay. I've got the story pages, but then at the end of the book, you're going to have a full-on painting that I've done of that animal. And on the facing page, there's going to be data arranged in a way that's going to be intriguing for kids to look at. And I'm still thinking about it at this point, but I want to make those pages interactive so that you end up with the animal like front and center above the book on those data pages, and they'll be able to interact and learn about that animal, about its markings, anything interesting that I can do research wise on that animal.
Through the augmented reality. Yeah. Okay. And the coloring book that you said that you've done previously, is that available for people now?
Yes, okay. It is on my site. I have under merch, I have coloring book, and I actually have 2 coloring books. One is augmented reality and one is just a straight up coloring book. The straight up coloring book is actually a smaller size. It's 8.5 by 5.5, and it's about sea life. The other one is one that has 45 images in it that are on single-sided paper that you can color and then take out of the book and do whatever you want, or leave it in the book. There's a code embedded in the coloring image in the bottom corner that allows you to see if I have a time lapse of the video of me painting that image, it'll be there. So you'll be able to go to the page, scan the code, watch me paint it, learn something interesting about that animal, or reach out to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then there's a link to that image on my website in the book.
Have you always been tech savvy as far as like figuring out augmented reality? I feel like there's a lot of artists that want to try it, but then are too scared. Is it something that is easy, or are you just,
I think if you're driven, you can figure it out. I use Zapworks, which is, there's a software and you can download the software, or you can do the 3-dimensional thing, or you can do a 2-dimensional drag and drop thing. So the drag and drop thing is a lot easier than the 3-dimensional thing, obviously, because there's less moving parts. And that's easy enough to figure out. But using the software is interesting. It's kind of like using Blender. Blender is an open source 3D modeling software that you can download for free. It's got a huge learning curve, but I do come from a web design, HTML coding, email marketing kind of background. So looking at lines of code is something that I did during my day job. So I think, yeah, I do have an affinity for it, but I don't think it's out of reach for people that are, have their mind set up that that's what they want to do.
Mm-hmm. What are you working on right now? Like, what's the series that you're excited about?
Okay, this is funny because I have a workshop that I'm teaching in Beverly Hills Sunday. And I'm actually working on a series of 6x6 paintings. Okay. Of puppy dogs.
Aw, very cute.
And so I've got just different breeds, something small, something I can get. So cute. Okay, so that one I love. I'm thinking about turning that one into a face mask.
That one is definitely I think my favorite so far. There's just so much personality in his face. Are these dogs that you know, or just finding?
They're just different breeds. I did this one.
Aww.
Right. And then I decided to create merch with that one. So I just launched that merch yesterday, and it's like, it has straight up just vibing, like mm-hmm. around the image. And I put it on some shirts and stuff. It's kind of fun.
Okay. With your merchandise, is it shirts and purses or?
Yeah, it's a lot of shirts and tank tops and coffee mugs and stickers and some kids clothing too, like baby t-shirts. I like to put like my image and then the name of it below. So like I'll have lion, one of my lions, and it works out to be like a baby shirt because like, you're identifying things for the kids, the pictures and with words. And mm-hmm. Kind of cool. But yeah, so I have a lot of coffee cups and wearable art, greeting cards. I have a lot of greeting cards. But I'm just trying to produce art that is accessible to everybody, because not everybody has wall space to hang art, and not everybody has a budget for originals. So, my prints are fairly affordable. I've also started a new thing where I'm doing enamel pins and acrylic pins. So like, I've had two designs. I have my butterfly, and this is my enamel pin of the butterfly.
Oh my gosh, it's beautiful.
Thank you. So there's that one, but I just had the next one done, which is a goofy giraffe with his tongue hanging
Oh my gosh, I love
out.
it. That's cute. It took me 2 seconds to like figure out what it was, but it's so cute.
Yeah. But then, you know, these are hard enamel pens with you know, the liquid enamel, and it's, you know, so, but what I've also done is, because is to create acrylic pens. So they're acrylic. You can see they're, you know, they have a single pin in the back, and
Yeah,
these are just
colors are striking.
I'm able to take them out of their paintings and isolate the subject themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got 4 different designs for the acrylic pens, and you know, so I've got a bumblebee.
Beautiful.
I have to do my butterfly. My butterfly is my logo piece.
Okay.
So I've got to have it. It's got to be there. So yeah, this is the hard enamel version and the acrylic version.
Oh.
So yeah, I'm doing these, and they're going to be like, I want it to be like a collector series where I have fine art based enamel pins. My next one is going to be one based on Jubilee, which is an elephant taken from behind. So he's sitting on the ground, and you're looking at his back, and his trunk's kind of up in the air. He's funny. To me, he looks like he should have some gigantic headphones on his head, just bopping away to some music. So yeah, I'm trying to get these going. I've got subscription boxes with the pins and stickers and stuff. So it's kind of fun. I'm sticking my oar in everything. I'm putting everything out there, doing tons of different things.
And so when you go to festivals, do you bring all the merchandise, like original pieces, and then
I do.
I do.
How extensive the display is depends on what the festival allows. So some festivals are fine art only, and they want you to keep your display of even just prints. You know, they have to be signed limited edition prints, and they have to be only 10% of your display. You know, there's some that have this requirement. The one in San Diego is being touted as and always has been touted as a place for originals. But so I try and keep my display. I put everything on a table, but I think this year I'm going to spread it to 2 tables just so I don't have people crowding around any one place.
I was going to ask you, do they have like COVID requirements for you as an artist?
There are, and you know, I have my own requirements for myself because, you know, I've got kids and I don't want to get sick, and you know, I'm not a spring chicken anymore, and I do have rheumatoid arthritis, which is an immunocompromised situation. So, so yeah, there's going to be a mask. There's going to be a set of masks out there. So if people come by and they don't have one, put one on. You're welcome to come in, but you need to put one on. There's hand sanitizer. Use it before you come in. Don't touch anything. If you want to look at something, let me know. I'll handle everything. So, and then to collect emails, I'm going to use like a fishbowl situation where they can drop their cards so that they're not touching anything, any pens or my tablet or whatever.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm trying to figure out, you know, usually they're requiring that we bring our own tents, because they're having to pay for fencing to encompass the event. So they're going to charge admission, which they normally don't do, but they said it's just to cover the cost of the fence. And then they're checking temperatures on the way in and you know, controlling how many people are in the area at any one time. So it's, you know, Facebook has put a ban on ads during the month of September or October. And it's like, you know, it's really hurting a lot of us that are, you know, I do a monthly giveaway. If you sign up for my my website, if you sign up for my newsletter, you get entered to win a monthly giveaway that I'm doing right now. I'm giving away an 8x12 print of my African penguin, and it's going to be signed and numbered, and it's going to be but that goes to one person who has signed up for my newsletters. But I run an ad on Facebook, and Facebook has been like throttling everything for everybody. And I don't know if it's because of the elections or what, but everybody's traffic is down, and you know, the success rate of the ads just isn't there. So I'm like, this month, you know, I'm being reassured by my guy that they'll be back to normal next month. So
after all the craziness.
Yes.
Well, okay, great. Share where people can find you one more time. And don't forget, listeners, November 1st, the Kickstarter for the endangered book will be launched. So check that out. But where can they find you?
Waterplusink.com, ink with a K. And that's my username on every social media platform that's out there. Okay. I've got an Instagram, a Twitter, a Facebook, a TikTok.
On TikTok, are you doing like live, or I guess videos of you painting, or?
Yeah, I do. Oh, I'm also on YouTube, but YouTube I'm on as Kim Winberry. So, but yeah, I'm kind of taking my time lapses. I'm like showing off finished pieces. Sometimes I just do goofy stuff just because that's TikTok, you know. I do have over 1,000 followers, which means I have the ability to go live on TikTok, so I do that occasionally. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Listeners, remember you can find us on YouTube now. On YouTube, I will include some images of her work. So if you're looking to have a more visual sense of what we're talking about, check out the YouTube channel. That's Miss Art World on YouTube. And then Miss Art World Podcast on Instagram. We also have a website that you can check out as well. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, where we'll tag Kim and her work and everything that she's up to in the future as well.
Thank you.
Thanks.